What is a truly terrifying experience? The sight of a spider? Perhaps a visit to a doctor? Some would say the impotence one feels while atop of a soaring high building. But truly, what is terrifying? It is the things that stay with us, fears of what might happen to us or fear of what is already happening. Horror is in the environment that mirrors the self, and if the horror is found in a spider, so be it. But to me, terrifying is an abusive husband. Terrifying is a child forced to grow way too fast. Terrifying is rape. Terrifying is reading a book about all those things and feeling as though you've been entrapped in those worlds, forced to feel the weight of those environments, forced to think of what you've read. I myself have been subjected to think due to Angela Carter's The Bloody Chamber. And now, to begin, let me ask you one last thing. How is a person to be ridden of their own terrors? Well, the horror must be shared. But in all seriousness, this is not a spooky video. The spookiness will hopefully come from reading the book, or at least you'll feel uncomfortable. So, The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter is a compilation of short tales, folk tales, myths, and fairy tales. Tales that we are already very familiar with. Some are Beauty and the Beast, Little Red Riding Hood, Sleeping Beauty, Puss in Boots, Bluebird, and Snow White. Others are perhaps not as common knowledge, but relevant nonetheless, such as The Earl King and The Snow Maiden. And what do all of these tales have in common, might you ask? Well, they are primarily for children. For example, Sleeping Beauty, my favorite tale as a child. Little Red Riding Hood, the same story that we are always told in elementary school. Bluebird, perhaps not as much, but there is a hint of what is to come with that inclusion of the stories. Because as we might know, these stories were once one thing, they were gruesome, they were cruel, and they were transformed later on by particularly Disney into the child stories we know today. But then Angela Carter did something special. She retook these writings and made them into a almost feminine experience of horror. And what can be a female experience with horror? Well, sadly, rape. It is the thing that we as women, when we leave our houses alone or at night, it is the thing that stays with us. It is something that we will always think of day to day because sadly we live in a world where being raped is a very plausible thing to happen. As such, Angela Carter takes this experience and adds a whole other layer of horror into it with The Snow Child, the shortest tale of the book, which is of account wanted willing a perfect being into experience this girl with rosy cheeks, rosy lips, snow skin, all of those things. And then yeah, he basically willed a daughter and then his wife got jealous of her perfection. So just to emphasize how horrid this story was, let me read you a passage. So the girl picks a rose, pricks her finger on the thorn, bleeds, screams, falls. Weeping, the count got off his horse, unfastened his breeches, and thrust his virile member into the dead girl. The countess reined in his sparing mare and watched him narrowly. He was soon finished. If that does not cause you to be uncomfortable, to feel the horror of this poor girl who was just born and then raped, I don't know what will. Remember when I said this video was not a spooky one? Well, because the video in itself is not trying to spook you. What I'm trying to say here is that if you want to read a book about the female experience combined with horror, and you want to feel uncomfortable of the truths surrounding our world in a much more manageable way, well, Angela Carter's The Bloody Chamber is the book for you.